glorification. That is really what I think it is. Because what is the assumption? I think the underlying assumption of porn, we actually can bring to I don't even know what I would call this, but I think we can bring this to almost anything. It's this excessive, I don't know, decadence that we bring to anything. It's this idea that I need to find a way to wring every drop of pleasure I can out of this. And that's what this is here for, right? So Americans do this with food. The way we treat food at this point is this way. We probably do this with sports. You can do this, again, we do this with our own children, right? We can do this with anything, but we quite obviously do this with sex.
Yeah, we really do. I mean, this is gluttony, right? So gluttony is not just
that's
a
what
sin.
it is. This is gluttony.
It is. It's not just a sin when it comes to food. That's how we think about it. But I mean, this is gluttony on every level, like in every way. Like this is a serious problem. And notice how what is being done, evidently from the pulpit, is not actually going after the heart root issue of why that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying, hey, why do you have this inordinate desire, right? This maybe at times natural desire, such as for sex, right? You have a sexual desire. Okay, that might be natural, but it is like way overblown, right? It is uncontrollable in you. Why don't we deal with that, which the scripture does deal with,
right?
And instead it's, well, here's how we fix that, by making somebody else to fill that void, right? To fit that. And the problem so this is what scripture does, right? So not that right. I said that wrong. So one of the things that scripture does do is that the Apostle Paul does tell people that marriage is a place that you find an outlet for sexual desire that is godly and good. And if you burn with passion, you should get married.
Right. And
you should not withhold your body from your spouse. It does say that. The problem with what you have with Driscoll is that it's when Paul says that, he is not saying and this is going to fix everything, right? He's not saying this is the end all and it will fill that never ending void.
Right.
The assumption is that this will be a help, but having a spouse, right, and having the ability to, in a God glorifying way, have fruitful and enjoyable sex, that is a good that God has given. It is part of being human, but also that inordinate desire is not going to be solved by that. Right. That has to be solved by the gospel itself, which is what marriage and sexual intimacy ultimately points to.
Right.
This is what marriage points to. It's what it's about.
And this is, and Paul, even in this section of Corinthians, which we're talking about here, Paul is discussing people who are saying, I'm going to forego marriage. I'm going to sexual because it's physical is something bad. So Paul isn't saying that no matter what your desire is, that this is right.
You can fulfill it here.
Right.
Not at all.
This is a problem in even, I think, probably how we apply that advice, that if you burn, you need to get married. There is truth to that because it's scripture. It's not talking about marriage will solve your pornography addiction.
Right. Marriage is going to take away your lust. That is not what it says.
No, because that is a fundamentally spiritual act of God through the effectual application of Christ's redemption to you, right? And what Paul is saying is that you do have a natural desire for these things, which if God has given to you, if you are not celibate, if you've not been given a spiritual gift of celibacy, you should get married. There is no advantage to either, if you're married, foregoing sex for some spiritual reason, or if you're unmarried, to just stay unmarried. That's what he's saying. And so I do think this is why we're on the tightrope. This is why we're on the